Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. All of my clients keep asking me, they're like, "What's Nigel? What's an update? Like, what's happening in the market?" And I always tell people the same thing. You know what? It ultimately depends on which segment of the market that you're in. Like, what do you represent? Are you a renter? Are you an investor, seller, or buyer? So let's go through each of these individually. From a renter's perspective, there's been an influx of demand as a result of people that cannot buy, so they're coming into the rental market, and as a result, something will be listed for about 1800, and they'll get 10 to 15 different offers, and the final price will be well over 1800, and the successful applicant would have paid the entire year or multiple months up front in addition to the required first and last. So from a renter's perspective, if I can use two words to describe it: competitive, and in my opinion, overpriced. Well, third word, saturated. If from a buyer's perspective, I think this is where things get a little bit more opportunistic. So for people that are pre-qualified and have the funds ready to go, there are opportunities out there, and I'll get to that in my next segment in terms of sellers. Buyers have a lot of opportunities now because sellers, their properties are sitting on the market. They're not getting as many offers, and it's not uncommon for things to sit for 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, whereas, during COVID 2 to 3 years ago, things would sit maximum 2 weeks, 12, 14 days. Nowadays you'll see things sit a lot longer. So how that benefits the buyer is you have a lot more time to do your due diligence. If you require a conditional period, you have all the time in the world now. Sellers are far more willing to make accommodations and allowances for financing periods. You just have a lot more time to develop a rapport with the seller, and just more time in general to do your due diligence and just gather as much information as you possibly can, essentially resulting in you not rushing to make a decision. Things before, you had to put in your offer and just get it in, and you really didn't have much time. You were just jumping the gun, and in many cases there was a lot of buyer's remorse because you had no time to do any research. There were only firm offers that were being accepted, no time for conditional periods, and no allowances for anything. So buyers were essentially just rushed in there because, they were great, they were good prices, money was cheap, and, it was enticing. So now to switch over into the sellers section, sellers essentially now, to describe the situation, is they're taking what they can get. Things are sitting. Buyers can be picky now. There's more time for them to look. There's still a good amount of inventory. There's still about 19,500 listings out there on the market. So buyers have their choice. And if you're pre-qualified and you're ready, buyers, get their pick of the litter. They can choose essentially what they want in the time span that they want with the closing dates that they want. So sellers essentially are just kind of left holding the bag saying, well, we'll take what you give us. We're not getting 10 offers anymore. We're getting one or two. So sellers are far more willing to make concessions, to make allowances, and just kind of take whatever they get, and it really benefits the buyer now. So we're not rushed. Buyers are not rushed into decisions. They're being given the appropriate amount of time, in my opinion, to make a responsible, educated decision. Because let's be real, these are some of the biggest purchases, if not the biggest purchase in most people's lives, their real estate and their portfolios. So having the appropriate amount of time to make these decisions is perfect for buyers. So it's far more ideal for buyers. Not as ideal for sellers because they're not getting the same amount that they would have several months ago or several years ago. And they're not getting it in the time that they necessarily want. They're not selling in 7 days. They're selling in maybe a month or two. So it's far more beneficial to the buyers versus sellers. From an investor standpoint, excuse me, from an investor standpoint, if you have the money ready to go, you have tenants that are lining up to rent out properties. Rental prices anywhere from 1,800 to about 3,000 are going. They're so competitive. They're going within a week, multiple days, if even, and they're getting multiple offers, multiple months up front in addition to your first and last, and it's just ultra competitive. So for people that are looking to purchase properties to generate rental income, now is also a very good time to secure many of those assets. Now, my advice, the first thing you should do, contact a broker. Get an idea of your financial situation, get an idea of what you can afford, and get the ball rolling from there if that's the trajectory that you're on. I always say to people, get an idea of your perspective, get an idea of your financial picture, and then move forward. Don't focus on, the interest rates. Look at what you can afford per month, because quite honestly, nowadays, something that's 500,000 at 7%, won't necessarily be that. It'll be, even if the interest rate goes higher, the price of the product tends to come down. So you're paying a higher percentage on a cheaper product. So in many cases, a lot of people say, oh, the interest rate is high. But yes, on a cheaper product. So in terms of, if you look at the comparison from 6 months ago to now, a lower interest rate to a higher interest rate will still translate to a very similar monthly payment, because the price of the product has gone down significantly and will continue to do so in the foreseeable future. If you want to have a chat, I have people that we can connect in terms of mortgage brokers and everything like that. If you have any questions in general, feel free, never hesitate to reach out, as I've got more than enough answers to go around. All right, take care. Thanks, everyone.